Russian criminal aggression. That is the term Ukrainians use to describe the reality in Ukraine today, as there is simply no other way to describe it, really. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visits the scene of a deadly Russian missile terror strike in Kyiv that killed 23 civilians overnight.
It's not organization, it's philosophy which unites people. People from different countries, people from different professions, students, pensioners, and they are volunteering and helping to another people. And we are doing such activities for 3 years.
Right.
For these 3 years, we have more than 50,000 volunteers all over the country. We are in 14 regions, have our representatives, offices, and we help in more than 10,000 people and doing construction objects. Most of them it's fast recovery. It's
Right.
after attacks, rocket shields, we installing and conserve, for example, with help of wood, windows, roofs, and after we find donors who can help people.
Right. Well, I know you do that not only in the big cities, you do it almost on the front lines, like a couple of miles on the front lines, or on the very front. How do you do that?
First of all, we are doing safe. We have to do it safe. These activities and on front line, we in cooperation with military administration, with special services, and we are not only in big cities. For example, in Kyiv region, we did recovery more than 20 local authorities around Kyiv, and in the Chernigiv region, more than 20. And we doing it every day after attacks. And also we are doing, we have Dobrobat education. We are doing shelters for...
That was my next question, actually.
Yeah. Shelters for kindergartens, for schools. Also, we have Dobrobat medicine. We are doing shelters in hospitals. We help in hospitals with, for example, with technique. And also, we help local authorities to find sister cities in different countries. And it's horizontal level. Sister cities, sister regions. And after, we follow up in these activities and helping, for example, hospitals on frontline, from hospitals from United States and from Germany, for used
the fast relief for the exchange and funds and everything.
Yeah. We like a civil defense. And
no, you're civil angels. That's who you are.
Yeah.
Godspeed. Thank you so very much, Dmitry. Why, David? I mean, California and Ukraine, what was the turning point to make the decision? Because that was quite a decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, right after the full-scale invasion, I first went to Warsaw, and I was working in the shelters where a lot of the refugees were coming, women, children, seniors, and I was hearing all the stories of what was happening to these people as they were coming out of Ukraine. And I knew I needed to do something more. And so I started to look for organizations that I could work with in Ukraine. I came across Dobrobat and some other groups. And then in June of 23, I came here to Ukraine and Kyiv, and I've been here ever since.
Your family and friends are probably asking questions, same questions as some stupid questions as I do now.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? How do you explain it to them?
You know, there's a certain level you can explain rationally, but there's also just it was a calling. I was very angry after the full-scale invasion. I felt that the United States and Europe really had let Ukraine down. They could have done more, I think, to prevent the invasion, or more to actually help Ukraine. And so I felt kind of a duty and an obligation as an American, just a human being, to come over here and do what I could to help.
Not everyone understands, and likely never will understand, why David is here. Still, using the chance, David addresses his own fellow Americans in an attempt to explain himself.
I come from a long line of families that are served in the United States military. My great-grandfather volunteered and served in World War I. My dad's father served in Europe during World War II. My mom's father served in the Navy in the Korean War. My dad volunteered and enlisted in the Marine Corps during Vietnam. I served in the Air Force during the first Gulf War, and my sister's son is in the Army National Guard, and he was actually part of the team that went down to Washington, D.C. after January 6th, after the insurrection. So our family has been, in the armed forces, wearing the uniform of the United States for over 100 years. And one of the things that I think we really hold deeply in our family is this idea that, why did we fight? Why did all these generations serve in the Army or in the military? And the idea is, there was a certain set of ideas that we really believe, the ideas of freedom, liberty, justice. And so when you come here to Ukraine, the Ukrainians are fighting for liberty, they're for justice, for freedom, for self-determination. And those are the very ideas that we found that, is what makes us Americans. So if you want to really believe and fight for liberty and justice and freedom, coming here to Ukraine and defending those ideas, you're actually, I think, supporting what the United States really represents. And so I wish more Americans would see that and understand that if we don't stop, Russia here in Ukraine, they're going to keep going. They've been doing this for years, invading countries, destroying cities, killing people. And it's time we really need to stop. If we really truly believe in the ideals that founded the United States, that's why we're here fighting. We're here supporting the people here because they're defending those ideas. And to me, that's what's really ultimately in my family. Again, we've served in the military for over 100 years, and we deeply believe in those ideas.
Do you believe, David, that Russia can change to better in any time in the future?
No. Russia is what Russia is. I mean, they've been the same for centuries. And I think that's one of the things when I hear people say, oh, Ukrainians and Russians are the same, I'm like, they could not be two different people. I mean, Russia understands brute force, destruction. You look at what happens in Syria, Georgia, Chechnya, Azerbaijan, what's happening in North Africa. Everywhere it looks the same. They just destroy, indiscriminately kill. Ukrainians are a warm, open people. They are about community, faith, and family. They're just an entirely different people from the Russians. And when you see what the Russians do versus what the Ukrainians do, it's night and day.
Whoever you are, whatever you do, after seeing this reportage and maybe hundreds of more reports from Ukraine, you are highly unlikely to understand what Ukrainians are going through. That is okay, Ukrainians will understand, but please also understand them. At least bear in mind that it is not right, it is utterly wrong to be killed in your sleep by the ill ambitions of an outdated Soviet emperor wannabe, Vladimir Putin.